So turn off your television sets. Turn them off now. Turn them off right now. Turn them off and leave them off. Turn them off right in the middle of the sentence I'm speaking to you now. Turn them off.
As promised.
You didn't add what I told you to add back to it.
Look, you gave me that note the day before Thanksgiving and expected it to be done.
When did you post the video?
Send me the audio of that so I can adjust the frequencies on it.
All right, man. Look.
Listen, I was an excited person. I was excited.
I gave the feedback when I saw it, and I said, "Good job." However, just add this thing that I love back to it. And what did you say?
I feel like y'all saying like, nah, he's shining too much. Let's bring him down a notch.
No, I'm literally saying like, send it to me. I didn't listen to it in my headphones. I heard it on my phone. Headphones and
put the ending back on it. That's what I said. I literally said what
anyway,
Ron's like ready for this big moment. Everyone's like, eh.
Like I didn't even listen to it on the bed yet. I'm saying send me the audio so I can adjust.
I'm like the little kid who gets called into the living room to do a dance for his aunts and uncles, and they're like, "Yeah, it's all right, it's all right." But anyway, we're here to talk about The Mandalorian, Chapter 13. A fantastic episode, and we have the full gang here. Hope you enjoyed your Turkey Day. But D, what's up? How's it going?
And Filoni,
hey, everything's good. I'm glad y'all enjoyed your Turkey Day, War Eagle or whatever.
Courtney, how's it going?
I was just saying, and Dave Filoni, we trust. That's all I need to say. Give him the keys to everything, everything.
Oh yeah.
So,
AJ, how's it going?
We here.
We are here. So we're
let's act like we want to be here, though. Excuse me.
I want to be here. I think I'm just more or less upset that the holiday's ending.
Oh, yeah, that's that.
Yeah. D can't relate. D's the only one that's happy right now because she doesn't have to go to work tomorrow. That's why she's the only happy person.
It's Sunday. It's Sunday. I slept on an air mattress all week. I was in a car for 12 hours of the week.
Bless your heart. Okay.
If it makes you at 8 a.m. tomorrow, I have a presentation to give. So how do you feel about that? But anyway, we're here to talk about
D just at home chilling.
Yeah,
drinking out of KWC cup.
Like, oh, y'all have to work. Y'all have to work. I can't relate to that.
I don't chill. I have a 5 and 2-year-old.
I mean, you not chilling, but you don't have to deal with idiots like we do.
You're true. That's very true.
You're dealing with a 5-year-old who draws and a 2-year-old who probably wants to do what the 5-year-old does. I mean,
you're right. I give you.
I would take that over what I'm walking into tomorrow after being off for a week.
I have voicemails. I already checked of people very upset that I was off on Thursday. They were so mad. I'm just like going through like the voicemail transcriptions. I'm like, oh, Monday's gonna be great because state workers don't deserve off days, right, guys? Anyway, let's go.
Yeah, let's get into it. So first, let's do a recap before we get into this episode. Mando is on a mission. So who wants to talk about what Mando is doing right now, who he's looking for, and why he's going on this trip? Like, what is he trying to do right now? Who wants to take that?
I'm gonna take it.
It's got to be the experts.
I thought you were gonna take it because you did the whole write up. Okay.
Yeah, Court can have it.
So are we talking about like who he was looking for before this or now after this?
Well, who he's looking for now, leading up into this episode.
Oh, he's looking for like one of the best female characters in all of Star Wars, Ahsoka, who is not a Jedi. By the way, Mom, why is that picture your profile picture? Okay.
Ooh, that's you.
That's me. And if you notice, fun fact: my brother has a black eye because I gave it to him in the womb. So I'll save that story for a different time. I'm telling you, I've always been fighting people. But no, he's looking for Ahsoka, who, by the way, the Jedi episode title is not referring to Ahsoka because she is very much not a Jedi. She doesn't fuck with them. Oh, sorry, language, Mom. But but because he's trying to find a Jedi, I remember he is from the Death Watch. We're gonna call it the Death Watch, not the Watch. Because so he doesn't really know. Excuse me, I'm gonna go die. He doesn't.
While Courtney hacks up a lung, he's looking for it. He's looking for a Jedi so that he can train Grogu.
Okay.
He's looking for a Jedi to train, and he was being told by Bo-Katan to find Ahsoka, who is on this planet with her white lightsabers fighting people. Shouts to Rosario Dawson.
She was excellent.
You don't have to fake with Cory Booker anymore. He's not going to be president. DM me.
So yeah, go into Ahsoka's backstory for people like D, also me who may not know.
Ahsoka's backstory is all contained in Star Wars: The Clone Wars, which is convenient.
Oh, you should watch.
Oh my God.
So if you can watch.
So who wants to go into Ahsoka's backstory?
Well, because again, Ahsoka is one of the main reasons I'm team fuck the Jedi.
It would take an hour to explain Ahsoka. She was Anakin's Padawan.
You could sum it up in a minute.
She was Anakin's Padawan. She left the Jedi Order because spoiler in Clone Wars, and now she's no longer a Jedi. Watch the Clone Wars.
Yeah, watch the Clone Wars. She's just is okay. If you want to know why if AJ and I are like team fuck the Jedi, just watch the Clone Wars.
Yeah, I ain't necessarily team fuck the Jedi.
Here. Well, okay, how about this? Like the Jedi are not the good guys.
If we go too far in her background, it'll be spoilers for Clone Wars. She was Anakin's Padawan.
You don't have to go into too far into her background.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, but yes, you do. Like, in order to understand why she's not a Jedi, why she left the Jedi, I have to give you spoilers for like season 5 of Clone Wars.
No,
so
you can
just
say
a backstory, not her entire bit.
Well, her backstory is a spoiler.
That's what we're trying to tell you. Her backstory has spoilers.
She was Anakin's Padawan, and because team happened, because team fucked the Jedi.
That was supposed to be a layup.
She was Anakin's Padawan. They had misadventures during the Clone Wars, and one day she was no longer a Jedi and left the Jedi Order.
Jedi Order, they're like there's reasons that things happen. They're dumb.
I can't tell you these things.
Other than like the Jedi Order is basically what the Democrats look like.
Watch the Clone Wars, people.
I'm not wrong.
I can't even give Ron grief because he's watching Digimon.
Yeah, I am. But anyway, so how are we feeling about Rosario's performance in this episode?
She was excellent. She is Ahsoka now.
I wasn't really paying attention to how she was acting. I was just looking at Rosario.
See, but I can't talk about Moff Gideon.
No, you can't. Exactly.
Why?
I didn't say anything about Ahsoka force choking me. I didn't say anything about wanting to take the Darksaber. I didn't say anything.
I didn't say anything about the Darksaber.
I said I was paying attention to Rosario.
In her defense, she said nothing about the Darksaber.
Oh, whatever.
You said you would cancel me if I said anything about a Darksaber.
I didn't say anything about Ahsoka force choking me. I just said I was paying attention to Rosario.
You thought it though.
No,
I just want everyone to take a look at AJ's tweets. Go look at AJ's tweets and then come back here. Come back here and tell me that he can tell me what I can and can't say.
First of all, my tweets are tame relative to who I used to be. Like the stuff you tweet is way worse than the stuff.
Okay, but it's like 7:30 in the morning, and like AJ's like.
I don't wake up at 7:30, so that is completely false. I don't wake up until 10:30.
So I thought
every day of the week.
I thought that Rosario was, or the character was based off Rosario. Keep in mind, I haven't watched it, so I've seen, of course, the animation or the picture of Ahsoka, and I thought that Rosario was the person that she was modeled after.
She's just such a perfect fit for it.
Yeah, so when she was cast, I was like, "Oh, okay, they're just going to get the
voice." And are there people really
again.
upset?
I haven't seen it, so
I
thought I was like, "Oh,
really upset about the voice actor not being Ahsoka."
Yeah, she looks.
Sorry.
She looks.
But
like
yeah, she really does look like Rosario. But are there people that are upset?
Yeah, when that was announced, people
that aren't racist.
Star Wars, of course, they're mad.
Well, they're upset.
But people that aren't racist.
Upset for Ashley.
But she doesn't look like Ahsoka.
And to be fair, once again, I haven't seen Clone Wars, but Ashley Eckstein minus Mark Hamill is like the greatest like ambassador for like Star Wars period. But at the same time, exactly. I was going to say
she don't look nothing like Ahsoka.
But at the same time, like you have to like look
like
the character.
Bo-Katan, her character was modeled after her.
Yeah, you have to look like the character, and then like if you have an opportunity to bring in someone like Rosario Dawson, you just have to do it. So
and she looks like,
and that goes for multiple areas in life. Like if you have the opportunity to bring in Cory Booker did it.
No, sir. No, sir.
Cory Booker needed a girlfriend so he could look like he liked women, and he brought in Rosario Dawson.
Hey man,
listen, my mom is watching this, and my mom is like in love with Cory Booker.
If I had a job opening in Rosario Dawson, I don't give a damn if she knew how to do the job. I would bring that. That is just something that you should do. Bring in Rosario Dawson. It will enhance any TV show that you have. Give me a TV show. Rosario Dawson will make it better.
No, seriously,
he made Dawson's Creek better. She did. Name's actually Dawson.
Like she had the body language. This is someone that watched Clone Wars. Like, since there's only 2 of us, like she had the body language down. She had her tone down. Like I was kind of like, okay, I know she's very talented, but I just wanted to see because she looks like Ahsoka, but she had the whole character just nailed down, and I can tell that she put in a lot of effort.
Her portrayal is a lot more Rebels than Clone Wars.
That's true.
Clone Wars is very.
I bet she probably referenced. I bet she probably referenced Rebels, which is fine.
Rebels is adult Ahsoka, like adult, and has witnessed her former master become Darth Vader.
I mean, that's how she got those twin sabers there in Rebels too. So.
Well, she gets had that. No, she gets them in the book Ahsoka. She already has
right. It's been so many years since I've like looked at all the material. It all morphs into one for me. But no, I'm glad they feature the twin sabers as well.
Yes, and there's a book called Ahsoka, which tells you what Ahsoka did after she left the Jedi.
So it's not to do spoilers, but I do love that there was a lot of cross. I know Star Wars is basically, as a franchise started, being basically samurai and also westerns in one, even though those are kind of like parallel genres, but like the good, the bad, and the ugly references, there's a lot of like feudal Japan like architecture going on, inspired. I thought that was really neat too. You can kind of tell like there's just basically like samurai and western.
It's like Cowboy Bebop.
Which is but I mean that's also Dave Filoni too, because he, like I said, we have said that he's essentially George Lucas's Padawan here, so they're going to be into a lot of the same things. So yeah, just look back and you'll see those kind of. But I feel like the good, the bad, and the ugly reference was like in your face. So
Ronnie is my Padawan.
I didn't realize that Ron's gonna have a smart remark in the group chat later. For those of you not privy to that, I didn't realize that Dave Filoni portrayed Plo Koon in Revenge of the Sith.
I knew that surprisingly,
no, I just at this point,
you know that, but you ain't seen the episode of Clone Wars.
Hey,
at this point, why does the mouse?
Of Clone Wars.
Why does the mouse not just hand over the keys to the franchise to Filoni? Because, like I said, George Lucas trusts Dave. If you haven't watched interviews, George Lucas.
Hold on. Keep that.
They don't. But George Lucas trusts Filoni with the franchise more than he trusts George Lucas.
Hold on to that. Keep that idea in your pocket, because I actually want to reach back to something that you said in reference to adult Ahsoka and what she's seen. Because I want to say with Ahsoka right now. So
of course you do, Ron.
I mean, of course, but Ahsoka flat out refuses to like train Grogu, and I hate that name. He's Baby Yoda, as you see, but she flat out refuses.
It's better than like a Y name like Yaddle.
Yeah. She flat out refuses to train Grogu because of the relationship that Grogu has with Mando. Like, why is this so important?
Because, well, she's like the greatest of us. And D, can you guess what she meant when she said the greatest of us? Or I think I'm like paraphrasing. Who do you think she meant? I want to see if the casual fans of like when Ahsoka said who is the best. When she
said she's seen attachment corrupt the greatest of us.
The greatest of us.
Anakin.
Who do you? Yeah. So everyone got that. So basically, what happened with Anakin and his attachment to Padme was his weakness. And well, if you watch Clone Wars,
his mother more than anything.
His mother, but if you watch Clone Wars, you kind of see like it's his fall into darkness is way more complex than that. But
also, speaking of Clone Wars, there was a big Clone Wars reference right before Mando meets Ahsoka. Anybody catch that?
Beautiful. I loved it. Well, only I would catch that, AJ, because I'm the only one that has seen it.
You know, I didn't catch it.
So if you look, when Mando was walking with Grogu to meet Ahsoka, there's a bird on a branch. That bird
that's
is
her.
bird is the Morai, and that is representative of the daughter or the light side of the Force. Watch
Didn't we talk about that? We talked about that a couple episodes
I forget what
ago.
the Mortis arc on Clone Wars talks about it, but when the daughter dies, she turns into this bird, and this bird becomes Ahsoka's
kind
avatar.
of like, yeah.
So wherever that
her.
bird is, like Ahsoka is there, and basically she's being guarded by the light side.
I was really excited to see that. I was super excited. I was like, I was like, you know, Dave Filoni's just out here rewarding Clone Wars fans.
But yeah, that's why it was important that Dave Filoni wrote and directed this episode, because he was dropping in like little tidbits of stuff that he did. So, but yeah,
only he would know to do that.
Right. Like as soon as I saw the bird, I was like, oh, it's the Morai. Yeah, she has a fairy god bird, basically.
Yeah, and I knew immediately. It's like, oh, they're about to give us Ahsoka out the gate.
Ron, pull up the Google Morai and Mortis and pull up the bird.
Yeah, just so that y'all can see it.
It's on the they have it on the episode too. If you just put Morai, Morai Mandalorian, they show a screenshot of what the bird looked like for people who missed it.
I think it's cool that you brought up that Anakin's the connection you were saying to Padme, you were saying more so to his mom, because she did make it a point to say that Mando is like a father to
Grogu.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right, and that's also a drawback to when Grogu chokes out Cara Dune, which now we realize was So that's what the bird looks like in Clone Wars. Now,
by the way,
just put Morai Mandalorian, and they should put the screenshot of it up from where it was in the episode.
And they also made mention that maybe I'm getting into this too early, talking about he had pretty much been raised in the Jedi Temple.
There.
Yeah, so that bird, right? As soon as I saw that bird, I was like,
and there's actually a close-up shot of it on a branch too. But pretty much there's a lot of really heavy implications on this. Let me see if it's going to get brought up later, because I don't want to jump to conclusions. No, it's not. So first of all, Grogu, because that's his name, is Grogu. He prefers to be called Grogu. We're going to respect what he wants to be called. But exactly, that's his name. He's not the child, Grogu, as you can tell. You can tell. I'm just saying. Ahsoka said that he didn't like that. Ahsoka said that he liked being called Grogu. So we're going to respect that. But
are you going to go against Ahsoka, Ron?
Exactly. We don't want to go against Rosario Dawson.
Right. Are you going to go against Rosario? We know you're not right. Going to do that.
But what was I saying? One really major thing is that, and I think a lot of people miss this at first, is that even I'm trying to say Baby Yoda, Grogu was born the same exact year as Anakin, which, if you remember the prequels and just the lore, that there's a lot of talk of the balance of the Force that year. So I think that there's going to be a lot going on with that. And then what else? But yeah, I think they're kind of leading on to that Grogu could go either dark side or light side, and I really think that's where the show is going to kind of go. And also, they've made established he may look like a child, but he is not. Like he is not a child. He completely understands. This is what I'm telling you. Baby Yoda is an asshole. So if he can fully understand what's going on, he knew that he was eating that lady's babies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he
knew. He's an asshole. Mom, I'm sorry. He's a terrible.
Whoa. We're not disrespecting Grogu like this.
We're not. Okay, but Grogu is out here. He loves amphibians. Have you noticed that he was looking at the fish in the water?
He's impulsive.
Look at the things that. Well, first, he understands it as a child, but he still has the brain development of like a 2-year-old. Like it's like a wise 2-year-old, basically. Mm-hmm. I know this because my nephew was a wise 2-year-old. It's like dealing with
I have a wise 2-year-old.
Yeah, it's dealing with a wise 2-year-old who like, like my nephew will say something so profound and then turn around and do something. And be like, why would you do that?
He's a toddler, like compared to the rest of his species, but he still has 50 years of lived experience. So like that's
people think, of course you can. Like, Like,
Or-
like
or-
But he was at the Jedi temple.
Hold on.
Oh, one
Ryan,
thing.
Ryan, did you just say Coruscant? It's Coruscant.
Course.
whatever, man. Coruscant. Whatever.
like,
you know what I meant.
Whatever.
I was like, that sounds like a Pokemon.
Hey,
Coruscant.
I don't want the Jedi fans attacking the blog account over you
They will.
mispronouncing
Get it
things.
right.
They will.
They will.
They would have.
The worst
They will
fan
attack
base.
us for much less than that. So
Exactly.
But
Don't
and then
give
one
him-
thing is
don't
that
give him
Yoda knew about Grogu, and even I don't know if y'all noticed this when Ahsoka mentioned Yoda's name that Grogu looked and was like that caught his attention. So we've made note that anytime something important is said, that Grogu looks. One of his name, and two when Yoda was mentioned as Yoda. I'm wondering if they'll mention Yaddle. Who knows?
No, Yaddle ain't being mentioned.
Yaddle doesn't exist
She was
anymore.
erased from existence for a reason.
no, Yaddle doesn't
So-
exist.
Because those puppets were awful. And George Lucas was like, nope. And then they were like, the CGI budget, we can only have one, and the one's gonna be Yoda.
What were you about to
So
say?
since Yoda is his name, what's the species called?
Nobody
What are
knows.
they?
We don't
You
know
don't
yet.
know? Okay.
They're just, I do know. Wasn't there supposed to be like a concept? And I was looking into this because I think I remembered from interviews that they were supposed to be like that whole species was supposed to be the guardians of the Force because they have such a high midichlorian count, which they are back. They are canon again. So I think they scrapped that. So I'm wondering if they're going to bring that back. Like the species is the guardian of the Force or whatnot.
What are those like the Wizzles or whatever? What are they?
Yeah, the
called?
Wizzles. Weren't they supposed to be like the original Wizzles or whatever?
Probably, but you know they scrap things. But like,
But they bring it back.
I did see like Star Wars fans were
Take away.
mad that Yaddle was supposedly erased when Ahsoka said, "I've only met one other of his kind." But I'm like, Yaddle wasn't around when Ahsoka was a Padawan, so why would she know who Yaddle is?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense anyway. Yeah.
Like Ahsoka's like a teenager at the time, so she might have been at the temple when Yaddle was there, but that doesn't mean she would have had exposure to Yaddle. Like, come on, guys! Like, stop being dense. Like this, no one's erasing it. Well, George Lucas
No, what
is
they're
erasing
saying
Yaddle,
is that
but
Yoda and Yaddle fucked, and that's how we got Grogu.
That's what I feel like. That's what I feel like is going on here. Because I was like, okay, you know, Palpatine is getting the cheeks, so now Yoda's getting the cheeks too. Yoda is definitely getting the cheeks because that's what's gonna happen. Grogu
Grogu has parents.
It's the offspring of Yoda.
All right,
Like,
let's
that's what's gonna happen.
let's relax.
Yoda is out here getting the cheeks though.
Let's relax.
Just
Let's-
saying.
Let's chill. Like we
I
don't
mean,
we don't
Hey,
have
you know that,
parents.
AJ,
He's
you
got
know that's what's
parents.
gonna happen.
No, we don't, because
Nah.
Yaddle has been erased from literally everything but the Phantom Menace. They aren't acknowledging that Yaddle exists, so
It
that's
doesn't
not
have
gonna
to be
happen.
Yaddle, but we know age. But we know Yoda. We know there's a connection to Yoda. Like it's come on now.
No, Yoda probably. My guess would be that knowing Star Wars, they have references to things in the real world. The Yoda species, because they age so slowly, they probably like procreate like whales, not a lot. So Yoda probably found this child and brought him to the temple because of that. I would now it might be
Yoda was getting the cheeks, man.
Yoda might be his
not
uncle.
here.
Yoda wasn't getting no damn cheeks.
Yoda was
Yoda's probably his
the
uncle.
cheeks. I am.
How old
Yoda,
was Yoda?
Yoda's probably his uncle.
Yoda
or
old
some
enough to. Oh, Yoda
How old was
was
Yoda? I mean, Yoda had a long time.
Yoda was
acquire
9.
said
Yoda was
cheeks.
900.
Yoda was 900 when he died. Meaning he was
It's like Methuselah.
he was 85 clapping cheeks. Come on. We gotta
Of course
assume
you are.
we gotta assume that the Yoda species ages at like 1/10 or 10 times the rate, or
I'm
1/10
sure there's
the
a
rate of
math.
their
I'm
age.
sure there's math now. Seeing Baby Yoda or
Yeah, so
I'm sure there's math.
Yoda was probably what 85-year-old out here procreating?
But
Come on.
Yoda is strong in the force.
Wasn't
though.
Hugh Hefner really
not that
making
force,
babies
Ron.
with
Not that force.
literally? Hugh
Not that
Hefner was
force.
out here making babies. With
Now,
people.
maybe Yoda knew what Darth Plagueis knew. Maybe Yoda knew how to use the midichlorians to
I'm sure he knew how to
create
use
life.
hands.
But
I'm sure he knew how to
I
use
would bet that Yoda is like his uncle or something like that. Dave Filoni is not
They
gonna.
have to make him related.
Dave Filoni is
So
not about to
Yoda's
sully the
brother was
name of
getting
Yoda.
cheeks.
Yeah, Yoda's
He
brother.
looks just like Yoda.
Yeah, Yoda's brother was getting cheeks, but I don't think that
like
Yoda. Dave Filoni and George Lucas would not sully the
These are
name.
implications. These are implications here.
Like Yoda was like the we know every other Jedi. We know Obi-Wan got cheeks. We know Mace Windu got cheeks. We know Anakin was getting cheeks.
Stirring the
But I
mac
don't
and
think
cheese.
Yoda was out here getting cheeks. I just don't feel like
Stirring
that
the
was the
mac and
case.
You are
Just stirring the mac
underestimating
and
Yoda.
cheese.
No, I am saying that I
Stirring
don't
it up,
think
Courtney.
George
Just
Lucas
stirring
would
it
put
up.
that in. Dave Filoni would not put into canon that Yoda was getting cheeks.
Who put that into canon? Disney. Disney put that shit into canon.
Nah.
All right, but
No,
real,
but they
but real talk to like recenter us a bit. We're talking about canon, and I want to ask a question. This is more so geared as like towards like you, AJ, towards you and Courtney. So there's a very like explicit mention of Thrawn, and Thrawn is like one of my favorite characters of like the EU because that's what I grew up on. I grew up reading like those
Why aren't you watching
novelizations.
Rebels if you love Thrawn? What is
Let me
wrong
ask
with you?
her. So basically, how do we feel about these EU things now becoming canon? Like, how do we?
Well,
feel about
Thrawn's been canon. Since
I mean,
Rebels.
Thrawn's been canon, but still, like, how do we feel about things?
Is that what you mean, like in live action?
Ronnie,
Yeah.
I'll reverse this for you. Revan is now canon, thanks to a mention on here, and that is the Jedi Temple on Tython.
I think we're gonna have Ezra and Sabine though.
Please keep Ezra far the fuck away from this series because I hate.
You know, I
fiery
feel like
passion.
if they have Thrawn, they're going.
What are you about to ask, D?
What or who is EU and who is Thrawn?
Okay, EU is
extended
extended universe.
Like, you know how we say that, like the DCEU, it's like the DC.
So basically, before Disney bought Star Wars, George Lucas licensed people to write other material for. So that's like there's this whole other thing where
like Timothy Zahn, Terry Brooks, they were writing books in
Where,
the Star Wars universe.
like Luke has a kid,
Yeah.
Han and Leia have 3 kids, like that type thing. Like they go that like Luke fell in love with this former Sith assassin and has a kid with her, and yeah, like.
So is that how we got Ben?
I think his name wasn't his name Ben.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah,
how
I
we
think
got
his name, I think
Okay.
Ben Skywalker was Luke's son, but yeah, they kind of did a merging of that to
Which
make
would
Ben.
be interesting. I think they're gonna have to just retcon everything with this. I think
So
Filoni.
wait, so-
I think Filoni is actively trying to make an effort to retcon this shit because like
Mhm.
some things are gonna come to a head where it's like,
But basically, when Disney bought it, they didn't want to have to reconcile everything that George Lucas licensed. So they basically just said everything that we haven't touched is not canon outside of Clone Wars.
which
So
is disappointing.
like everything else that had ever been created in Star Wars outside of the movies that they themselves
So we're talking like
bought,
the novel, the
and
graphic
Clone Wars,
novels,
all of that stuff
novels.
was well in the Marvel comic series, those were made canon, but everything else was made EU. So Thrawn was not canon for a while until Rebels, because Rebels was a continuation of Clone Wars. Clone Wars was canon. So when Thrawn shows up in Rebels, he then becomes canon.
And the Thrawn comic book is amazing. If you haven't read it, please read it.
But
So
Thrawn
you're
is this
saying-
blue,
I
cunning.
haven't watched Rebels.
Blue
I think we
cunning.
could pull in the actor too. Who is the actor?
Thrawn
It's
Thrawn
actually
is-
the brother of
Hold on, y'all
Mads Mikkelsen is Thrawn.
I feel like
Lars
it's-
Y'all are
Mikkelsen.
telling me
He would be a
that
good fit for the actor.
there's a Ben Skywalker and a Ben Solo, or you're saying that,
So
No.
Ben
that
Skywalker was
Skywalker
first.
is kind of they
Is
kind of
Ben
made
Solo.
him.
Ben,
into-
they
okay.
made they took
Yeah,
so I think Han Solo and Leia's kids were like Jenna, Jace, and somebody else,
Mhm.
and then like
Mhm.
Luke had a son named Ben, and so one of the Solo kids goes to the dark side, and like they try to take Ben with him, and that's kind of what they modeled
Kylo from.
Kylo from is that
Okay.
series. So
I
they
got it.
they
Okay.
they did it in a way to pay homage to the EU, but they didn't want, like Disney's thing was, we don't want to have to reconcile all this shit.
Mm.
We want a clean slate when we make our movie. So damn everything that's happened.
You've
We're
never
just gonna
watched-
make our
So
own.
Quite
Ben
good.
is so Ben slash Kylo. Ben is his own character in the movie
Yes.
universe.
Yes.
Okay.
He's his
Okay.
own character. They just took some of the influences from the
So
EU
yeah, Lars
and
Pig,
used-
like
and used that
Lars
to create him.
Mikkelsen,
Okay.
however you pronounce his name. I feel like he's definitely could still bring him on because he looks like Thrawn.
Also, Mads Mikkelsen was in Rogue One. Keep that in mind. But
Oh,
he was
that's
he was
right.
he, but he was
Now
he
tell
was
me who
like
Thrawn is.
So
Uh,
Thrawn is he was an
Hold on.
admiral of the
Pull up a
Empire.
picture.
He was a grand admiral of the Empire, and he kind of ran like the
Oh, hold up,
counterintelligence
hold up.
division. So the big thing about Thrawn was his battle tactics were always just unbeatable. So Thrawn shows up in Rebels and starts sussing out the Rebels and who's helping them. There's this agent called Fulcrum,
pull up a picture,
who helps them. And so the
and pull up the actor. So like the actor could totally play him.
But so Thrawn is just super cunning, and at the end of Rebels, he ends up going off in space with Ezra. And at the end of Rebels, Sabine and Ahsoka go off looking for Ezra. That's why Ahsoka wants to know where Thrawn is, because she's
either
trying to find
Ezra's dead or Ezra's going to be in the show. It's one of those two.
I hope he's dead.
I could see where Ezra's dead, and then it's a revenge thing. Possibly.
So Ezra is the main character of Rebels. He was a kid on a planet who got invaded by the Empire. They were resisting, and he ends up meeting up with this rebel crew. And one of the characters in Rebels ends up being the Padawan of Mace Windu's old Padawan. So
I know who that is.
Yeah, he stops. His name he's voiced by Freddie Prinze. So that video that we saw of Freddie Prinze ranting about what Dave Filoni told him, he was playing that character. So he ends up bringing him back to the Force, and then Ahsoka shows up. But basically, Ezra is this 13-year-old dipshit who is really annoying and does stupid things constantly.
AJ hates
and gets saved, has to get saved by the smarter characters around. He's like an anime protagonist. He's like Naruto.
I was waiting for you to say he
Goku.
was like, he was like.
AJ does not is looking for Thrawn for good or for his detriment.
Probably. Well, so at the end of Rebels, Ezra ends up like flying off in deep space with Thrawn somewhere. And so, like, after the Empire falls, I think Ahsoka and Sabine meet up, and they decide, like, after the Empire finally fallen, they're like, "Hey, we need to go find Ezra." So that's why Sabine hasn't shown up yet, because her and Sabine have probably split up and gone to look for Ezra. So she's looking for him to try to find Ezra, but probably to kill him too, because if he shows back up, then the Empire would basically be back. Because between him and Moff Gideon, they could probably, resurrect the Empire. So I think she's looking for him, one, to stop him, but also to try and see if Ezra is still alive, which is also why the mention of if another Jedi shows up is important, because Ezra could potentially be the one to sense that and try to show up to train Grogu, which I would hate, because Ezra almost falls to the dark side too.
Okay.
Yeah, he almost ends up teaming up with Darth Maul, being stupid. But yeah, that's Ezra. I don't really recommend watching Rebels, because unless you just want to hear Freddie Prinze talk.
Wait, did I do that?
No, it was Comcast.
Oh,
yay, Comcast.
But no, I think, were you still doing your little recap, AJ?
Yeah, he's done. Ronnie, you were saying something about Mars. Who are you talking about?
I was just talking about Lars Mikkelsen, and I think he would be perfect
he would be perfect
to be Thrawn if they choose to go there.
I feel like Thrawn would come in after Gideon is done. I don't think they would.
Thrawn.
I don't think they would overshine.
Another
Gideon
thing,
I think that's a setup for like season 4 potentially.
And they're gonna bring in bigger bads because Giancarlo Esposito, my TV husband, he even mentioned.
My way of putting it.
He has alluded to the fact that there's bigger bads coming on. So I think
he said in season, if a season 3 occurs, we will learn more about Gideon. So I don't think Gideon's about to die by
no. I think we need more direct conflict.
If anything, what'll probably happen is if somebody like Thrawn shows up, or if the First Order starts building and the tease of Snoke in the last episode ends up becoming a thing, then you would see Gideon kind of revert to the side of the heroes, because he's trying to maintain his own power. He would kind of be like an anti-hero helping them. But yeah, I think we're probably like 2 seasons away from Thrawn showing up, which is why I'm glad, because I think if anything,
we need more build up for that. Yeah, I agree.
If anything, we're gonna get, like, when they get to Tython, Luke's gonna send an emissary to Grogu, and I think Grogu's gonna choose to stay with the Mandalorian, because they ain't letting their cash cow and Grogu walk away.
What a perfect segue, AJ, because you mentioned Ezra, which once again I have no point of reference, but Ahsoka mentioned taking Grogu to the Jedi Temple, and hopefully he can connect to another Jedi using the Force. I was going to ask if this was a way to possibly slide in a Luke cameo. What do y'all think about that?
I don't think we're going to get a Luke cameo per se, because number one, they probably can't afford it, and number two, Mark Hamill probably doesn't want to. Although I've seen some people. I've seen some people say like
He's gone.
that maybe Sebastian Stan would cameo as Luke, and I'm like, Star Wars fans would riot if anyone other than Mark Hamill
Other
played
than Mark
Luke
Hamill.
Skywalker.
Other than Luke.
Possibly, maybe
Yeah.
just like I was thinking if they do have him just as like a hooded figure that doesn't speak.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't.
I don't want it. I
yeah.
do not want it.
I think if anything, like Luke's trying to rebuild the order, and he's so busy doing that he would probably send an emissary rather than.
And unfortunately, they can't have Leia.
Yeah.
Can't have Leia. Unfortunately, sadly.
and she's not really a Jedi anyway. So
No,
She's
according to
force
Rise of
sensitive.
Skywalker, at this point, she is Jedi. She
trained, but she didn't go through.
She didn't complete it.
She didn't go through like the
Speaking
quote unquote trials
of
to become a Jedi.
the body, we didn't mention at the beginning the I forget his name, the guy that was pretty much the guy in the suit and did all the body language and physical acting for Darth Vader died today.
Oh yeah, I
So-
forgot. See, I had a note to mention that at the top of the episode.
But and I don't think it needs to be discounted. Of course, like Darth Vader is played by two people, and when you see like a lot of the great three people, but a lot of
Four people if you really want to get technical.
but a lot of like the important body language was just as important with Darth Vader, and just like that kind of tall. The dude was like 6'7".
But yeah, David
tall
Prowse,
menacing.
who
Yeah.
was the actual physical actor of
Apparently, he
Darth
was
Vader in the OG
delightful,
trilogy.
according to Star Wars fans that met him, and he actually loved being a part of the franchise. So,
And he is now one with the Force.
Yeah, may you rest in peace.
just like Peter Mayhew, and my dad can always say a picture of my dad making C-3PO in like the 70s as a float went viral, and Peter Mayhew retweeted it, so my dad like holds that.
Oh wow!
My
Wow.
dad's like, technically I got Peter Mayhew recognition.
Oh wait, actually,
so-
5 people have played Anakin. Good grief, 6.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, that's right. You're thinking about Anakin too. It's like there's a lot of.
I mean,
people.
Jake Lloyd, Hayden Christensen, David Prowse, James Earl Jones. Then you have the Ghost from Return of the Jedi, which got
Which was
retconned.
hilarious.
Yes.
like the ghost show.
And then
Like,
then
when
they put Hayden
Christensen
Christensen
in it, and I'm Hayden Christensen. Yeah, and then the voice of Anakin in Clone Wars. So yeah, you've had like 6 people at least play Vader /
But like
Anakin.
one of the OGs, it was like, too. But
also another reference to Revan was those battle droids. They were HK-87s. If you ever
Yeah.
played Knights of the Old Republic, the HK-47 was an assassin droid that
I've
Revan
noticed.
created.
I think Filoni is like a big fan of the games because I'm seeing more and more references there. Like, I mean, the games are great, but I'm seeing more and more of those. So I'm kind of glad to see that as well.
All right, so that actually leads to like another question I have, and D, actually like throw this at you because you've seen the Star Wars movies, you've seen the Mandalorian. So the Mandalorian is handled by Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau. You've seen the movies, which is handled by a large evil mouse. Do you think
A large evil mouth, really?
Yeah, Mickey Mouse. But once
I know what you're referencing.
But once D answered this, I can open it up to you two. Do you think this team with Favreau and Filoni, because the Mandalorian is pretty tight knit, is all cohesive? Do you think they should be the ones creating the Star Wars media going forward, or do you think that the way Disney has been doing it up to now works?
How can you say that with a straight face, Ron?
I know.
I was gonna say because works is relative, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, because I mean, I think I won't say the issue. I guess the good thing about the whole thing with Star Wars is that no matter who makes them, people are gonna go see them, and Disney knows that, so they don't really care. Maybe they care, but not as much as they should. So I would like the people who are doing the Mandalorian to go forward because I just like the way the Mandalorian looks. I like the dialogue. I just like it better. And I guess it may be unfair because the time has been different. Like, when was the last Star Wars movie?
2 years ago.
Oh shit, no, they just had one. Like the Rise of Skywalker, right? I wasn't even thinking about those.
It's either that
Rise of Skywalker just
painstaking or
last
that
year.
forgettable.
Well, see, because my brain, again, so that answers your question because I forget that there are like more movies past 6. I forget that there are more because it's what, 9 now.
Technically 11.
Well,
11.
just stop. Don't add Rogue One and no. It's just but the rest. It's 9, right?
Well, yeah, it's 9 of the
The
Skywalker.
Skywalker saga is 9.
Yeah. So I forget that there are the other 3, even though I've seen them. I just forgot because I know they're a part of it. But
because the Clone Wars movie is part of the Skywalker saga, so 10 if you being technical.
Feature films that
not
you know what I mean.
No, Clone Wars came out in theaters. It was a feature film.
Oh, it was okay. But to answer your question,
it was a bad.
I would rather this team do it because I forgot completely that those other movies existed.
I'm team. This franchise works better as a TV show ever than a movie. I don't think a movie you can really tell a story as well with this. Or maybe just
that's
always, it. I think it's always
so much detail. Yeah,
I've been singing this song for how long now that it works better in TV shows. Like some things just don't work as movies. I don't think that Star Wars works as movies because there's so much in the expanding universe. Like I think about this, like imagine if they tried to make Game of Thrones into movies. It would not work because there's way too much shit, right? So I think that they're not going to do it, but I personally think it really is just the best show.
I mean, I think it works.
It's one-off things. I'm tired of the Skywalker shit. I'm tired of it. Leave it alone. I like one-off type movies, but I don't like a trilogies. They're not going to ever let the Skywalker family go. They're not going to. They will never know peace.
I'm a fan of there being a movie and then a TV show branching off from that movie. Like I'm a big fan of that.
So I'm like, they need to encourage people more to watch their show media. I think stop hand-holding fans and stop giving into the incels. No one cares about them. Just tell their mothers to disconnect the internet. And then your problem's over.
Yeah, but they buy all like the toy merch and all the.
They do. They buy all the merch. But
that makes them
all the racist fans. Like the racist fans
and the Legos.
The racist fans ruined the recent movies. Like they would have been better if like Disney caved into these incels, and now they feel even more powerful that they impacted the movies.
I personally think like the movies can work. They just need to get away from the Skywalker saga to do so. Like I keep saying Knights of the Old Republic is ripe for a trilogy and it would work.
Perfect. Yeah, you're right. But
and you could do a series based, like to Dee's point, you could do a series based off the second game because the second game is you could draw that story out a little more with the I forget what they call the.
And I'm just like, I was thinking this while watching this episode is like the non-Skywalker, like the more normal people of Star Wars are to me more interesting than the Skywalkers. I'm like, these people are so interesting. I want to know more about them. And if we had I don't know if Disney will ever do it because Hollywood just does not like being creative. Like they don't like creative.
Where can they go now with Skywalker? Because that's it, right?
Just leave them alone.
That's not it.
Do it with the Mandalorian and just vaguely reference. If you have to do just they're gonna.
At the end of
he doesn't know who they are.
Yeah, at the end of Rise of Skywalker, you see Rey bury the lightsabers in Tatooine. Ooh, shit. So it's too many O's in there.
That's gonna be my name next week.
Tatooine.
But yeah, she buries the
trademark that shit and make some hot dogs.
She buries the lightsabers, and sure enough, 5 years from now, somebody's gonna dig up those lightsabers, and Rey's gonna have to train the next person of the next generation. They're gonna keep going with the Skywalker.
They won't do that because Daisy really said that Daisy really already said she's probably not coming back. They're gonna retcon it. It's
the Reylo fans need lives. They need a life.
They've put it in the air that they can retcon this through a way of the Force. So they're gonna if Kevin Feige's Star Wars film does what it's supposed to do, they're gonna retcon the entire third thing and give him the reins to this.
Are we talking maybe like a multiverse type?
You are severely underestimating the power of the Disney check right now.
Yeah.
Because when John Boyega went off, Kathleen Kennedy called him and apologized. Do you think she apologized to because she really respected his feelings? No, she apologized because he's gonna make a cameo in the trilogy later, and she's gonna give him a blank check.
Yeah, but Ron, you talking about the monetary side of this. I'm talking about the fact that Disney called MCU's head over and said, "Hey, make a Star Wars movie." Kathleen Kennedy isn't in play here. They are going to. I get that, but no, Ron, they are not going to do an episode 10. They are going to retcon episode 7 through 9 before we get an episode 10.
I think there's going to be episode 10 5 years.
5 years from now. I think they'll retcon it because people will have forgotten it. they've said, I forget what the exact term is, but it's a die of something in the Force that they kind of set up in there as a way to go back through and redo the events of Episode 7, where in this instance, instead of Ben Solo being being seduced by the Sith, he ends up becoming a Jedi, and like the whole shit. They're gonna do something like that.
It's the dyad of the Force. There's like has to be two poles of the Force or whatever. But
Disney's cowardly, so we can't ever get anything.
And that's what I'm saying. Like it's right there for them to, because love it or hate it, I feel like they're going to.
The only good thing Disney brings is money. Is like they bring big bucks, but there's no creativity behind anything that they do.
What were you about to say, D?
I was gonna say, okay, so we were talking about the Skywalkers and like nobody knows who they are. So what is the criteria that makes a Skywalker? Like, what is? It's not just
at this point you can just call yourself a Skywalker.
You can just call yourself a Skywalker
at this point, because of Rey. It's like even though my daddy was supposed to be Obi-Wan and I was supposed to be her mom because Obi-Wan, but still.
Okay, well, that doesn't.
I mean, like. This is how it was originally supposed to play out. Like
he's
the Skywalker,
supposed to be her dad.
The Skywalker saga. Like, okay,
look at Ewan McGregor and tell me he wasn't getting cheeks out here. I mean, just like.
so we start out with like
yeah,
we start out with basically Luke. Yeah, you know what happens in the original the OG trilogy. Like Luke finds old Ben Kenobi, who turns out to be Obi-Wan, and then in the prequel trilogy we get Anakin's story, which leads into like the birth of Luke. So that's what we call the Skywalker saga. And the new trilogy, it was originally set up like and it was like the worst kept secret ever that we thought Rey was a Kenobi. So that was going to be the link to the Skywalker saga. But they pulled something completely out their ass and made her a Palpatine. But because she was raised by Leia, she's now, and I say raised air quotes by Leia, she's now like a Skywalker because she's like because they're like, what's your name? And she's like, Rey Skywalker, and which was just that was as bad as Martha. That was as bad as Save Martha to me.
Save Martha. Nothing is bad to Save Martha, and it's my favorite thing.
That was because I've rolled my eyes hard. Everyone in the theater heard me.
She ended up with her like what was that like? It looked like that dance art expo where they were just like flipping whoever's laying down. I'm just like.
Then J.J. Abrams said, "No,
we're getting back to prequel level comedy."
To make it worse, J.J. Abrams said that wasn't a romantic kiss. That was a kiss between siblings, kind of like Luke and Leia. I was like,
I would never.
This is
I love my brother more than almost anybody in the world. There's no way I would ever put my mouth that close.
Ronnie, this is why I say they're retconning that shit, because even diehard Star Wars fans hated that shit. They're gonna retcon it. You don't give the head of a sister studio the keys and the freedom to do whatever he wants with the movie if you're not testing the waters to see, hey, can we give this? Because obviously Favreau and Filoni have shown that they should be in the running to do this, but someone who has because I feel like what they want is, that's why they rolled out Rogue One. That's why they did the Solo movie. That's why they wanted to do the Obi-Wan movie. That's why they wanted to do the Boba Fett movie. They're trying to have a whole movie universe. And that's why they looked at him and said, hey, so you want to, because I think they want to see, what can you do with the lore? What can you do with it? He ain't ever directed a movie before, as far as I know. I don't know that he's ever directed a live action movie. So this ain't his bag, but if he can get this right, I think they're going to give it to him, and they're going to go back and say what we saw was a vision of Luke's of what could potentially happen, and then Luke goes out and changes everything, and we get a whole different 7 through 9. I don't think we're going.
I can't believe I'm about to say this, but I would rather they leave the trilogy as is than do that. That is terrible. I
think it's going to be a bad look if they do that and then have a male lead again instead of a female lead.
I don't think we're going to get a male lead again, but I think they recognize, even though George Lucas had Luke dying in episode 8 as well. I think they recognize that they did some stupid ass shit with episode 8 that
Mark
led to
Hamill
episode
wanted
9.
Luke to die.
Mark Hamill was like,
He literally, even like,
Mark Hamill and Harrison Ford was like, hey, just give me my
even
check
like,
and let me
they were
go.
like with Han Solo, it's like, you're not getting Han Solo unless Han Solo dies.
Yes.
Well, I mean, part of the reason they killed off Han
People were
Solo was
angry,
because,
but again, it's the
because he
same
broke his
people.
leg in production and they couldn't use him
It's
anyway.
the
So
same
they kinda
people
had to
that
kill
were
him.
Oh, I
upset
didn't
by
know that.
that.
Nah, Harrison Ford wanted to be killed off in
Harrison
Blade
Ford
Runner
said, "I am
2049.
not
So he was like,
No,
nah, I'm outta here.
he did. But if you notice, when he walks the Kylo, Harrison Ford's walking with a limp because he broke his
Yeah.
leg during
Oh,
production.
okay, yeah.
Like,
But
and
he
they
still wanted
like
to die.
when they're on the
Mhm.
bridge and like he has a very noticeable limp, and that was one of the reasons why they agreed to killing him off because they're like, all right, you old, you can't do all the stuff that Han Solo needs to do. So
But
Don't
but
mistreat my
again, the
Harrison.
same people that are like, no,
Don't live
Luke
any
can't
other time.
die, no, Han Solo can't, are the same people that want it to be the Baby Yoda show. They're not into it for like the depth of it. They just want and I'm tired of those people. I want Disney to not even though those people bring the most money. I'm tired of you just
yeah, I mean the
Like,
mouse
be a
is
little
gonna
bit
go
more
for the cash
intelligent
cow.
about your watching is all I'm saying. I'm gonna be rude.
You're asking to get water from a stone. You might as well just you got to get the best of what you can get from these people. And what would make these people more happy than episode 7 through 9 done with nothing but
It
fan
could just
service?
be like nothing but the originals. It's just like but it's the same people that are like, well, Hollywood's not original anymore. It's like, I wonder why.
I wonder why. Because you want the same movie, just different characters.
Yeah.
But then you're like, well, it's so boring. It's the same. And it's just like,
Freddie Prinze Jr., if you
I'm
want
ready
to
to
come on
fight
here
people.
and rant, we welcome you.
I will welcome that. I will like look. I will step away and just be like, hey,
I won't
do
say
your
anything
thing.
the whole episode. I just
mhm.
be like, you got it. You got it.
Well, I mean, we've had luck. We can just tell them we're doing a podcast about how much we hate Star Wars fans. And see if they-
Okay. How about this?
See if
We
they're
were talking about this beforehand. Like, just as taking away everything else, so they're completely separate. As a fan base as a whole, who is worse, Alabama fans or Star Wars fans?
Star Wars
Star Wars
fans,
fans.
easily.
Star Wars
Star
fans.
Wars
Yeah.
fan.
Not-
Star Wars
And
fan.
see, like a full disclosure, that's why I love The Last Jedi so much, because it's a meta commentary on the Star Wars fan base. Because when Yoda tells Luke, like, this text doesn't matter, like, you actually have to walk the path of being a Jedi yourself. This text doesn't matter. Why are you following this text like it's your Bible? And then like he just throws it away. Like, Star Wars fans were like fucking incensed. They're like, what are you talking about? This doesn't matter. This is what I grew up on. But Yoda's telling him like, nah, like, this doesn't matter. Like did you not see what happened in the first
You
trilogy?
should just be like my dad. My dad has like been a Star Wars fan since day one. When I just wanted to be Pikachu, he made me cosplay as Padme, literally with the freaking hairpiece and the makeup, made me do all of that. Begged my mom to name us Luke and Leia. My mom was like, no. And now he's just like, I'm just here for the viewing experience.
Yeah.
He's like, that was okay, I guess. Like, he just like mine's is be like that. He just is like, I'm here for the viewing experience.
But yeah, that's why I've never like fully embraced like Star Wars. Like, I'm a casual observer. Like, I think the lore is cool. The movies actually suck. Like,
you should watch Clone Wars. And
I'm gonna watch Clone Wars, but the movies mostly suck. The lore is cool. The fans are
You can't
terrible.
say like it's like because like that's why I guess I'm biased when I say like the TV shows are just so much better. Like the TV shows are so much better. It's because it's in much better hands and people that don't give a fuck about what the fans say.
Minus Rebels.
Minus Rebel, yeah. But like, I mean, Rebels does have a lot of important info in it. So
It does, but Ezra sucks.
Yeah, Ezra does suck. But like I think Filoni just does not give a fuck about what the fans think. And it's just like
I don't think that Filoni doesn't care about what the fans think. I think Filoni knows how to present information. The information.
I think he
about
knows
the
that
lore
he
in a
knows
way.
better than the fans. I think he knows.
No, I don't think it's that. It's not about knowing better. It's about knowing how to present. It's about knowing how to present information to an audience that might be unwilling to digest it. He does it in a way that they have no choice but to accept it because it's done so well. Ryan Johnson's problem was Ryan Johnson wanted to do this in a way that's I know more than you guys, and I'm going to show I know more than you guys. Whereas it should have been, hey, we're going to do this because this is what the lore says, and I'm going to spell it out for you within the film. Ryan Johnson was just like, man, fuck you guys. This is what I know my shit. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And that's why the fans revolted.
that's better is that, like, I mean, Filoni
Well,
does
maybe
but
if the-
Filoni also doesn't assume that his audience is stupid either, even though most of them are. But most of them are.
Okay.
Like, no, I guess not.
I got some
like,
takes
let
now.
me
Hold on.
just like state the information to you, kind of way.
Because
Does that make sense? It's not annoying.
There was such a strong reaction to Rian Johnson because AJ, what you said is totally true. I'm not arguing against that, but there were fans talking about Rian Johnson like, oh, Jedis can't do this, they can't do this. And like there's like this famous tweet, it's like the best tweet ever, where he opens up a book published by George Lucas and it says force teleportation. And he was like, you can do this. If you actually knew more about the thing you said you loved your entire life, then you would know this is possible. So I think that's why exactly. So that's why there was such a strong and people were talking about Leia's force sensitivity. Once again, he was like, well, if you play the Star Wars board game, then you would know that Leia is force sensitive and she can't do this. And once again, like they claim that they know about this stuff, but they really don't.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Like what Filoni does so well is he knows they don't know, and he knows they think they know, but he feeds it to them in a way that they don't feel like they're being talked down.
That's what I'm saying. Is like
Rian Johnson was wagging his finger.
He doesn't tell information like they're stupid. He doesn't tell information at least to your face. It's like reverse psychology.
The Dwayne Wade video. I love it. I love it.
It's like you think you're getting it one way, but he's prepping it a different way. He's very good at like being manipulative to his to the viewers. It's wonderful.
I mean,
I'm kind of okay with you proving that you like. I know what I'm talking about, and you don't. Especially when people try to make. Like I'm okay with that.
Well, most of these are like white men that live in their mom's basements, so like they have an inherent need to say because they are insecure and have nothing else in their lives. So even though they have little Star Wars knowledge, that's all that they have. So, but I'm not here to be a therapist.
For me, what I like about what Filoni does is he just tells the story and lays out the whys.
Mm-hmm.
Rian Johnson ain't really lay out the whys. He just did the shit
because he had one movie to do so. Like he didn't have a lot of time to do so.
I'm not disagreeing with you. What I'm saying is why Rian Johnson's film got the backlash that it got is because Lee said it best. He was being subversive for the sake of being subversive. He ain't have to be that subversive. He could have.
But was not Empire? Empire was subversive for the sake of being subversive.
Huh?
Mm-hmm. Empire was subversive for the sake of being subversive.
Yeah, but
people hated Empire at the time. Like we're not old enough to know that, but people hated Empire.
No. I agree with what it has very many parallels to Empire, but you're talking about. When did that come out? 83, 82, 83, something like that.
Mom, you're watching. What year did Empire come out?
You're talking about like a universe in its infancy. People hated that Luke's lightsaber was green in Return of the Jedi. Like they hated these things, but now you've gotten so far away from it and all of this lore that's come out with it that now these people feel like they do know more. Whereas before, George Lucas was the only authority, so they hated it.
Are you meaning to tell me that years from now, some 15, 16-year-old is going to watch The Last Jedi and be like, wait, this movie is awesome. Why did people hate this?
Yes, probably.
I don't think there's a probably there. I think that's going to be. I think people like years from now are going to watch The Last Jedi. Be like, wait, why did people?
I think if they get away from the Skywalker trilogy, I think that there's going to be like the less ravenous fans that think they know everything. They don't have to, because like if you don't know anything about it, you kind of have to accept it at face value.
Like,
they don't. That's why I think The Mandalorian is a lot better received because people don't really know a lot about a lot of the shit here. So you kind of have to accept it as is.
I personally think that like the issue with Rian Johnson was simply that he was being a dick. Like
I love it.
He wrote the film from the standpoint of an arrogant dick. Like I love it. And people caught on, like I caught on to it, and I know a little bit about Star Wars, and I'm like, oh, you're just being a jerk at this point. You don't want to.
I'm with Ron. I kind of really enjoyed it.
It was amazing. Because
the fans deserved it. The fans did deserve it, and I know that's why they took it negatively. But
there's a way to do that without it coming to. There's a way to do that without us getting what we got in The Last Jedi.
Because you know the number one criticism of The Last Jedi. you know, the number one criticism, and I argued this on Twitter, like when it dropped, the number one criticism of The Last Jedi when it dropped is like, well, he didn't tell us who Rey's parents are. I was like, that's good storytelling, because what he did is he gave Rey a movie to walk her own path. We can answer that question later. He didn't answer that question. He basically inserted a deceit. So Rey would have to walk her own path.
But it's the way that he did it that the
which was amazing.
No. When you're coming off of The Force Awakens, we expected that question to be answered. For me, a better way to subvert expectations is just not to answer it.
Mm-hmm.
Which you did not.
No, but he did. He answered it, and then he defended it and said, "Well, that's the answer as far as I know." You could have left that entire part out of the film, and people aren't mad at it. That I think the issue, what he went into it feeling like, I don't want Rey to be anybody, so she's not going to be anybody. When you can write that, if you hand me something and I don't necessarily like what you did, I can just ignore what you said and not answer that question at all and leave it for the next person to do. People do that at work all the time. We all got coworkers that do that shit, that leave you. But for me, well. Okay. Oh, yeah, you don't know.
He's like, I can't relate.
Let me mute D right now.
To me, that entire scene didn't happen. That if you X out the you're nobody part and just let that film go, people don't have an issue. Well, I still have an issue with the Finn being sideline shit, but.
I will say that, to be fair, I have an issue with that. Like, I'm not saying The Last Jedi is perfect. I have a huge issue with that. So go ahead.
Yeah, like, but I think he went into that and he wanted so badly to say, I don't feel like she should be anybody, so she's not going to be anybody. I'm going to make sure y'all know she's not anybody. When he could have just said, I don't feel like addressing this, so I'm just going to.
I will say this, to be fair, what we now know about the Duel of Fates, it would have addressed that. But Disney were cowards and they backed out of that. So that's not his fault.
I'm saying it's his fault from the standpoint of he wrote it and he didn't like that idea. So he could have just left it alone.
Honestly,
that's what I'm saying. He could have just
I would rather her have been nobody than freaking Palpatine's didn't clap anybody's cheeks, still reproducing.
To me, I think that if they leave it alone, she ends up being a Kenobi. I think if Rian Johnson doesn't answer that question, if he doesn't attempt to answer that question, if he doesn't attempt to be subversive,
but okay,
you don't learn anything.
I don't think they were going to make her a Kenobi.
It ends up where it's supposed to end up. If he just does nothing right there.
Because Rey, they say Rey is
they could have like I'm like, well, he was nobody in exile.
Think about how we meet Obi-Wan in the OG trilogy. Like I think there's something there. Like, and to me, like, because me as like a fake screenwriter, like, you don't answer that question right away. Like, you don't answer, like, what you do is you let her walk her on, because the moment you answer that question, that's it for the trilogy. Because now it's all about that question. It's all about that answer.
And that ended up happening. We're in agreement. We're talking about the ways to do it. The trilogy ended up being about who she was because he said she was nobody. If he doesn't answer the question, I think they answer it anyway.
But what I'm saying is, I think, all right, so, and once again, like, much like Courtney said, I'm watching this from the perspective of, I just want a good movie. I think people were watching this from the perspective of, I want a Star Wars movie. And to me, Star Wars is all about lineage. So when they didn't get that answer question, and once again, this goes back to just how toxic and stupid the Skywalker saga is. When they didn't get an answer to that question, they're just like, you know what? That's it for me. Because now, like, we have people questioning like Rian Johnson's filmmaking skills, which is just like no matter what you feel about Rian Johnson is ridiculous, because he's an excellent director. Like, this man directed.
Absolutely.
Like, I don't want to go down his list of works, but
I mean,
like,
not Knives Out. That's all you got to say on that one.
The best episodes of Breaking Bad. Like, this is what he directed, and now you're talking about this man doesn't know how to direct,
right? And that's why I'm saying you're not wrong.
I think
it's knowing your audience, and that like I said, that to me, Filoni wouldn't have answered the question.
I think
Filoni would have just let it go, but Rian Johnson wanted to, like, it was an ego thing. It's just like D&D with Game of Thrones. It's just like what they're doing with fucking the last show that we were.
Thank God that D&D didn't get Star Wars.
The boys.
Let's say that.
It's writers thinking that they know better and they want to give the audience something rather than saying, okay, here's this fan base that wants and cares about lineage. Ron, you're in the 1% of people that cares about watching Star Wars film to get a good film. Most people don't care about that. They want lightsabers, they want lineage, they want space fights, they want explosions, and they want a big bad. That's it. So if you know that and you don't want to give them that, then not answering the question is simply by saying, we're just putting this off to the next film. I don't want to answer this because Rian Johnson knew what he was doing. You and I both know that Rian Johnson knew what the hell he went in with the sole purpose of pissing off Star Wars fans, and he did it.
I love it.
You love it, but we got the shittiest fan service of all time in The Last Jedi.
I think he underestimated. I think he underestimated how awful the fan base was going to be. I do think he underestimated.
I don't think he underestimated at all.
Really?
I think he knew exactly what he was doing.
Mom, what is that? Mom, hold on. Mom, what is that in response to? Mother, you need to clarify.
He lit a bag of shit on fire at the front door of Star Wars fans, knocked on it and ran off because he knew he didn't have to clean the mess up. And again, I'm not mad at him for it, but I feel like we got the shittiest
Disney needs to have the same
Skywalker saga,
same director for 3 movies
based off of that one decision. If he leaves it alone, it doesn't answer the question at all. I think Colin Trevorrow's movie goes forward. I think J.J. Abrams does not come in to quote unquote save the day, and the film at least ends up semi-satisfying. And we get some variants of the Duel of Fate. Just if you don't answer you and I can both like. I'm a troll. I used to troll online. I like pissing people off, but I'm just saying there was a better way to do that. That's my personal opinion.
The best way to get like the awful fan base off your back is to stray from the Skywalker saga.
Exactly.
I think they're never going to. They're not going to.
Disney's never going to do that.
This universe is so much better outside of the Skywalker family. That's what's so crazy. Is like best stories.
I do personally think that Rian Johnson's trilogy is going to be Knights of the Old Republic, and if that's the case, I'm very excited about that.
Fantastic.
They've been setting up Revan. We get Revan drops in this. We got the Darth Revan thing in the whatever the last fucking movie. I always forget what the shit is called. Rise of Skywalker. We got Revan like so much lately that I do feel like they're setting up a Knights of the Old Republic something, and I think that's what they're giving Rian Johnson because his knowledge of the lore would be perfect for that. So I don't hate Rian Johnson.
Strikes Back was released in 1980.
Oh damn, I was 3 years off. 83 was Return of the Jedi. Okay.
That's right, because I think like the final movie in the trilogy was my parents' first date or something. That or Rocky. So that's how old these movies are. My parents are old. But
imagine trying to like go out and like see Rocky get beat up is like
here's the thing, my parents are nerds. My parents are nerds.
No, I'm not. I'm saying, but like, if my first, like, I'm going more than it was. Like,
I think it was Rocky 2. It wasn't the first. I think it was Rocky 2.
Okay, all right,
Rocky 2 or 3. One of them.
Rocky 2, I can understand because like there was a story there.
Okay,
like he had to fight.
So
but it was like if you trying to see Mr. T
has like the box set.
Woman.
My dad has the box set of Rocky. Like my dad, like as much as he is a Star Wars fan, is a Rocky fan and has dragged my ass to even see the worst ones that came out recently. And like so that's the thing with my dad. And they bonded. If it wasn't for Star Wars, I don't know if I would exist. Or Eastwood Mall. So thank you to Eastwood Mall and Star Wars.
Eastwood Mall.
That's fun fact. My parents met in the parking lot of Eastwood Mall. I never said anything about, okay, listen, it's not Baby Yoda, first of all, it's Grogu. Second, it's a toddler with 50 years of life experience that knows what he's doing. Just like when toddlers mess your shit up, they know what you're doing. Okay, listen, Mom, you didn't have that attitude when you were spanking me as a toddler. So why is it different with Grogu?
Because as parents age, they realize the things that they did wrong, and I
know. That's why I'm like, I'm not allowing her near my children because she's gonna make them horrible.
Yeah, I was gonna say Grogu is like your mom's grandchild.
I know.
It's like my mom's grandchildren.
My mom is literally buying Christmas presents for Ryan's children because she wants grandchildren so bad. But we're not gonna get into that. If you've got kids, my mom might buy her because she's got that grandparent fever. So Mom, I will buy you a Baby Yoda or a Grogu stuffed plushie if that makes you feel better.
I need a punny name for Grogu now.
You'll come up with one, I'm sure. And I'm sure it'll be
Grogu doesn't leave a lot. Grogu sounds like
I'm sure it'll be vile too.
It sounds like a brand of toothpaste or some shit. Like Grogu don't sound
okay, but it's better than Yaddle.
Sounds like spaghetti sauce.
I mean, Yaddle just kind of Grogu sounds like something that comes out of a jar.
It sounds like ragu. That's why it sounds like ragu. That's exactly what you're talking about.
That comes out of a jar or a tube. Or like when Grogu, that's the Dutch y'all can come up with.
Theories that are obvious is that Grogu is going to be a Mandalorian Jedi. No, I think Mando's going to end up being the one to train him.
I don't think he gets trained at all. I think he just.
That's right. He has no home training.
Yeah, I think he ends up being. In kind of what you're saying, I think he ends up being a force sensitive Mandalorian. I don't think.
So maybe like Ahsoka's equivalent of Jedi, like Jedi training, maybe.
Nah, because I don't think he'll ever end up wielding a lightsaber because Bo-Katan.
It doesn't seem very.
Yeah, I think he's gonna. Well, and they're short too, so I don't feel like he's gonna have. What's up, Cam? I also don't feel like he's gonna get like a Mandalorian. Like, can you imagine a Yoda suit of the big ass ears? Like the ears would be the ears would be bigger than the whole. Like you got Beskar ears and shit. Like I don't know, man. I think
he's gonna have Mandalorian train. I think Mando's gonna train him.
I don't know.
But train him and like raise him in his Mandalorian way is what I think.
The way this is,
Mom, I've been cussing.
The way this is, but yeah, to take us on now.
I don't think we're ever going to hear his voice either. I don't think he's ever.
No, we're not.
I think he's just going to speak through the telepathy.
But yeah, I want to ask. Basically, I want to provide my answer for the last question I asked. Should Filoni/Favreau, basically should all Star Wars media run through them? Yes. And I want to geek out a bit on what Filoni did this episode because on top of like just diving into the Star Wars lore, there were a lot of great cinematic references. And if you know anything about me, I love watching movies, and there were a lot of great cinematic references. First, Courtney mentioned. Yeah, Courtney mentioned the good, the bad, the ugly. Like when
it was beautiful.
The standoff. It was beautiful. Like also when Ahsoka is fighting the magistrate, that is
Morgan something, right?
No, that's a reference within the reference because that's basically that's slightly referencing Kill Bill, which references Lady Snowblood. And
they like the same director
if you haven't seen Lady Snowblood, please go watch it. It's a samurai movie. So on the opposite end of the wall, you get a spaghetti western, and then on the other side of the wall, you get a samurai movie. So
those are two juxtaposed
so
genres that like George Lucas himself has said like Star Wars is based off of the samurai movies and the westerns. Like he loves both of them. And guess who else does? Filoni, George Lucas's Padawan. So it's like, because if you think about the samurai movies and westerns, they're essentially the same like aspects. They're just different. The Eastern and Western cultures,
exactly,
but they're almost exactly the same.
Magnificent Seven is Seven Samurai, so it's the same thing.
It's the same thing, but I like in Star Wars, it's just like that, but in the future, but / the past, because remember it's the past, but it's futuristic. So that's the best. It's the beauty of Star Wars, and Filoni gets that. Like I said, if George Lucas trusts Filoni more than himself, because I remember there was an interview, and I forget what the concept was, but Filoni's like, yeah, I told George Lucas that wasn't a good idea, and my idea was better. George Lucas was like, okay. So if you have someone that he understands better than George Lucas what the franchise is supposed to be, I think he just needs to be the overseeing head, because no one does the lore better than Filoni, period. And I will not argue that. That is not an opinion, that is fact, that no one knows the lore and can interpret the lore. I guess that's a good word. Can interpret the lore better than Filoni. So give him everything Disney. If you don't like George Lucas, it's just Filoni.
I was about to say my closing point here is that George Lucas, like Star Wars is basically
it's his baby.
Yeah, it's his baby. It's inspired by stuff.
Like he sees it that way. He did poorly with the prequels, but again, if like Filoni was around, I'm sure the prequels would have been way better. I saw an interview. I need to send it to the group chat where like Dave Filoni like just makes the prequels make way more sense, which he does within the shows. But like George Lucas still sees this as like this is his child.
Yeah,
so you have to think of it that way.
like this is basically George Lucas's baby. Like these are things that he wrote down in his notepad, but at the same time, Filoni is just a better storyteller. So I think having someone like that, and once again, like Kathleen Kennedy was there for like the business side of things with Indiana Jones and Lucasfilm, but she doesn't really get the lore. Having someone like Filoni just like
who is just like a nerd at heart, but not only is he a nerd, he doesn't let his nerdery get in the way of storytelling. So exactly. Like he's just like a mastermind, like he's the best fit, and like he and George Lucas are really, I think George Lucas has found like the best, like again, someone that can best transcribe what he's trying to put out into the world, because like George Lucas does have a lot of really great ideas and concepts. It just, he doesn't know how to make it. It's like one of those things where you have a thought and you don't know how to articulate it correctly. That's George Lucas with Star Wars. And then Filoni's there to kind of translate. So
exactly.
Trust Filoni. Like I said, we are team trust Filoni.
We are team Filoni.
We believe in Filoni.
So yeah, as you can tell, we love this episode, and that's
anything Filoni touches. Anything Filoni touches is great.
But yeah, that's all we got for this week. D, if you got anything to add?
Is Rosario gone, or is she coming back?
I think she's not going to come back till another season.
Yeah, I think she'll be back for another season. I don't like, you don't bring Rosario off the bench just for one episode, so she'll be back. So yeah. So
she's welcome to star in a movie with me anytime.
Yeah.
But I can't talk about Giancarlo Esposito.
I didn't say anything. I'm
you see how I'm being restricted?
I'm writing. I have an idea for a TV pilot. Why wouldn't I want Rosario in it? I don't understand what you're talking about.
I want Rosario in my movie. I definitely want Rosario.
We know Ron's writing a screenplay of some sort right now.
Yes, I am. By the way, when we're done with this, I'm actually done with like my first part of like storyboarding. So I'm actually gonna pitch the idea to y'all. But yeah, that's all.
I want to be in.
Is this the Nick Cage?
It's gonna be a Rosario Dawson fanfic. It's what it's gonna be. It's an Ahsoka fanfic. It's a live journal. He's just gonna send us a live journal link.
Speaking of, we need to get Sky to write the Nick Cage movie.
Yeah, he said it as a joke, but it would be totally awesome. But yeah, that's all we got for this week. Until next time. Peace.
One.